Behold the baby Porsche. The Macan that has sold more than 850,000 units in the past decade. And this year it goes electric, promising more luxury, practicality and performance in one very compelling package. But does it hold true? We find out here in Dubai. So let's start with the visual design. For the first time ever on a Porsche, you have a split headlamp design. You have the DRLs right here, the headlamps below it. The bumpers have been aero optimized. You get a flat bonnet with flared arches and the new Porsche logo. Now if I just swipe down, it reveals an 84-liter frunk for the first time in a Macan. Now over on the side, the dimensions are pretty much the same. You get an option for 22-inch wheels, which this is, and you have 10 different wheel design options and you can paint them in any color you would like. The guy who spec'd this media car was clearly high. What you also get is frameless doors, really like a sports car. And the bottom of the car has been sealed, and so is this raked sloping roof, which gives it a drag coefficient of 0.25 to maximize range and efficiency. Now over at the rear, you have a connected LED bar setup that's 3D and looks really cool. You have the Porsche lettering, which can be optioned to be illuminated either in red or blue. Blue is my personal preference. The bumpers are aerodynamically styled as well. You have these vents over here which signify that it is the turbo variant if the badging over here wasn't enough. And overall, it looks quite premium. It looks larger than it actually is. It looks like a car that's competing in a segment above it. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. And now on the inside of the new Macan, the dashboard is dominated by screens. You have a digital instrument cluster, you have a central infotainment screen and an additional screen for your passenger in case they want to watch Netflix at all times. Now the HVAC control center is a phygital one, so you have physical toggle buttons, and I'm really glad that it's physical and not like the digital ones in the screen of the Taycan. Even the vents are physical and not like the digital ones in the Taycan. But because this is also an electric vehicle, it gets loads of storage. You have storage here as well as in the center. You have cup holders, even a wireless charging pad that's in the center. And apart from that, the entire interior in this very car is finished in leather. It's finished in dual tone, so you have two different specs and you can customize it however you want. You also get this nice wood panel. You have ambient lighting that is actually interactive as well and can be customized through the infotainment screen. Now the seats themselves, if you get the premium package, you have 14-way adjustable seats, and these ones go really low, lower than the standard Macan by 28 mm to give you a nice racing or a more sportier feel and a more driver engaging experience from behind the wheel of this Macan. Driving through the Dubai streets, the busy street, the Macan has been calm all the way through. The suspension is almost, say, therapeutic because it soaks up bumps and rough patches effortlessly. Now, even the traffic calming speed bumps here in Dubai, they're like not as huge as the ones we have in India, and they just feel like murmurs here. And because it's electric, it's smooth, it's quiet, and it's entirely a stress-free car in the traffic jams. It's almost perfect as a daily driver. But let's be honest, this is a Porsche at the end of the day. It has to be more than just comfortable, and that's why we're heading out from the city to find some open roads where this Macan can stretch its legs. After all, this isn't just about commuting, it's about the sheer pleasure of driving. The Macan EV is completely new. It's built on Porsche's premium platform electric, which it shares with the Audi A6 e-tron and the Q6 e-tron as well, which means it gets a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. 95 kilowatt is what is usable, and it's based on an 800 volt electric architecture with an onboard charger as well. In the range-topping turbo variant, the one that we have been driving, it puts out supercar-like performance. It's 630 bhp and 1130 Nm of torque. And let me remind you, this is a family-friendly SUV which has more than 1000 Nm of torque. That means 0 to 100 comes up in 3.3 seconds, which is slightly quicker than the new 911 GT3. How incredibly stupid is that? And I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, in terms of the range, you get around 590 kilometers for the turbo variant and 641 kilometers for the base Taycan, the one with the single motor, and that's still plenty for most people. And because it's electric, the acceleration feels almost instantaneous. It surges forward like it's been shot from a cannon, and all without the sound, because you can turn the electrified sound on and off in this. I have it on off right now, but if I switch it to Sport Plus mode, you can just hear that sound coming from the speakers to liven the cabin and make it more engaging to drive. But here's the thing, acceleration and top speed isn't enough for it to be called a Porsche, so it needs to handle like a Porsche as well. And here's where things get interesting. Now, fast electric SUVs feel like a bowling ball that's been shot from a cannon. They're quick in a straight line, but they're very clumsy in the corners. Now, thanks to their weight. And this one is no different. This is almost 2400 kgs, and you can feel the mass in the corners. Yet Porsche's engineers have pulled off something incredible. Now, they have reworked the entire suspension setup, the steering, even the placement of the rear motor, which now sits behind the axle for a 48-52 weight distribution, which is almost 50-50 like a Porsche. And the turbo also comes with air suspension as standard, with adaptive dampers which soften things in the city and they firm up when you are in the hills in the Sport Plus mode. Now, the 4S and the turbo variants can be optioned with a torque vectoring. That's just because there are the all-wheel drive variants. The base one doesn't get it because it's a single motor and a rear-wheel drive. And it helps to make the SUV feel more nimble on a curvy road, while the rear wheel steering is also optional that you can get, which makes it even more nimble, even more agile. Doesn't feel its weight. It doesn't feel like an SUV when you are really pushing the car. Now, speaking about pushing the Macan, you push harder and the Macan, it starts to show its Porsche DNA. The steering is sharp and communicative. You can really feel what the front tires are doing at all times, which is really a rare thing in its class. You can even feel the rear bias setup. You can even call it playful at times, because if you're too fast in a corner, you will get a bunch of understeer, which transitions into an oversteer if you feed enough throttle input. And when the front motor kicks in, it pulls you out of the corner. That's very easy and a very trustable and very confidence inspiring thing, which makes it fun as well. It's not as sharp as a Taycan and it's not as nimble as the old petrol powered Macan GTS per se, but for an electric SUV, this definitely sets a new standard. Having said that, for most people, the Macan 4 might make more sense. It's less powerful and has all the same tricks and more, and it's fast enough to be a daily driver, but you don't need a 0 to 100 in 3.3 seconds because there is no GT3 lining up next to you. So save some money, get some more range, and the Macan 4 feels perfect. But if you are like me, or if you ask me what I would get, the turbo is the way to go. Now, to sum it up, this thing is impressive. It's not a baby SUV anymore because it's got the looks, the performance, the handling, the comfort, the tech, and it's worthy of the Porsche badge on the hood. And that's the highest praise I can give it.